I'm Travis Bouchard, your 2025 Iowa Realtors State President, and I'm here with our Iowa Realtors General Counsel, Justin Hayes. We're going to talk a little bit about social media advertising. We know some of our local associations have had to address this. And the big piece of it is when buyer's agents are more or less advertising on social media, not necessarily the property, but that they got the property under contract for their clients. And some of the big concerns is when they've taken a picture of the property and maybe put some text over it that says accepted offer or pending. And then in the caption is explained, this property went under contract with my buyer and prior to closing. So this is happening day of or day after.
Sure.
And there's some pieces of Iowa code and potentially code of ethics that need to be addressed with this to ensure we're not overstepping bounds of what's allowed.
Yep.
So talk to us about that a little bit, Justin.
Sure, certainly. So, I mean, in my opinion, ultimately what matters here is going to be the content. That's going to be the timing, right? So in terms of the content, the question is going to be, what does it look like you're advertising? Right. So in some of those situations like you described, you would have a picture that from the listing agent, right, of the property. And then across it, you might have something that says like, pending sale or just sold or under contract, right?
Yeah.
And the issue with that is when you look at that advertisement, when you look at that picture, it looks like an advertisement from the listing agent.
Yeah. Okay.
So clarity, right? And also content. Now, the flip side of that would be is if you have an advertisement and maybe it's just a picture of you and your buyer, right? And you can advertise that you've just gone under contract, right? Well, that's certainly going to be okay because it's not a property, it's not a picture of the property, though you can use a picture of the property so long as you have the listing broker's permission.
Got it.
Right.
So if you have permission from the listing agent and the seller to do some type of post that says under contract, and they're okay with it, assuming we probably want something in writing.
Yes.
Then we're okay to do this and probably still, though, want to explain in some capacity what we're actually promoting there, not the listing itself.
Yes, 100%. And that's where it gets back to the content as well. So the real fundamental question here is just going to be, what does it look like you're advertising? Does it look like you're advertising the property because there's just a picture of the property that just says like in small print, just sold? Or does it look like you're advertising that you use your services to bring a buyer to that property?
Got it.
Right? So that matters. The other thing I would just touch on is, with advertising, you do have to be careful. Like you mentioned, there are code of ethics concerns here. So you specifically want to be careful of Article 12. And in particular, if you're looking at the standards of practice, 12.4 is going to be your guide here.
Got it. Perfect. Justin, thank you. I know it's a big question and we're seeing it across social media. I just want to make sure, obviously, we're not upsetting sellers and upsetting list agents, but also not crossing that bounds where we're creating issues for our buyers and their brokers.
And just one more thing also, because I just thought about this. I mentioned content, but I also need to mention timing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So what I'm talking about here is for advertisements prior to that close.
Before closing.
Right?
Got it.
Because the property is still listed by the listing broker. That listing broker still has the permission to advertise the property.
Market it. Yep.
And they have to give you authorization to show those pictures. But if it's after closing, well, it's no longer that seller's property,
It's
right?
now the new owner who is your buyer, and they can give you the permission. Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent. Justin, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.